With just days to go before the court verdict in his case, how is accused number 117 preparing himself for a judgment that could change his entire life? That's the key issue I should raise today in an exclusive interview with Sanjay Dutt. Sanjay, as I said, there are just days to go before the verdict is announced in your case. Are you nervous?
Yes, Karan, I mean, I'm a human being, and as every human being would be nervous. I am nervous, I'm apprehensive. I mean, I wish and I pray that everything goes well, and, I just get my freedom.
At this moment in time, when you're simply waiting and there's actually nothing you can do, how easy is it to lead a normal life?
No, it's not easy to lead a normal life at this stage, Karan. I mean, I have not worked for the last 3 months. I mean, reason being, I mean, this is the most important situation in my life as of today, and you cannot concentrate in your work. I mean, you've got to be focused in this. You've got to be thinking. You've got to prepare for a lot of things, in both ways.
Tell me, how can you prepare for something like this? How do you get your mind used to the idea, as you said, in both ways? How are you approaching this?
Well, I mean, see, I have full faith in the judiciary of our country, full faith, and I have faith in God. I have faith in the people of my country, my people. I mean, they love me, and I just go with that. I mean, I just take one day at a time, and I think that's the only way you can do it.
But are there days, are there moments when suddenly you have doubts?
As I said, I am a human being, and everybody goes through those phases of ups and downs in any field of work or anything. And yes, I do have. Sometimes I do think. Sometimes but it's always good to be positive, and
so you have to fight those moments.
You have to fight those moments, and you got to have full faith in God. You have to have faith in in yourself, in your family, in your people of the country.
Has this process made you religious?
I've always been religious, Karan. It's not that this process has made me. I mean, I've always been very, very religious. I mean, I have a lovely small mandir at my house, and I pray in the morning. And I do believe in Mata a lot, and I'm a Shiv Bhakt, so I mean, it's not because of this. I've always been religious.
You visited a lot of temples recently. You've been photographed in them. Does that give you a sense of peace, a sense of calm?
Absolutely. I mean, there's nothing above God. I mean, He's the ultimate power. He decides what He wants to do with His children. And you get a lot of peace. You get a lot of peace and security when you go and you pray.
You feel very close to God just now.
I do. I'm always close to God, but yes, I do feel very close.
And you need Him?
Of course, I do need Him.
At this moment in time, do your thoughts also go to your parents?
Yes. And I do miss my dad. I mean, he was just a power, a pillar of strength, for all of us. I mean, not only for his children, but for his party, for the people of his country. I mean, and I do really, really miss him. I do.
He believed passionately in your innocence. He always said, Sanjay will be proved innocent.
Yes, Karan, I mean, I know he's right there, and he's looking over me. Not only him, but my mother, I mean, who was another pillar of strength to all of us. And she was his backbone. And they're right there, and they're watching over me.
You feel you have their support with you?
Yes, absolutely. They're there. I know it.
During this last 1 month, when the judgments have been delivered day by day, has your mind begun to think of the day when you're going to be in court and you're going to happen to hear your own verdict?
I do think about it, Karan, but I mean, see, you cannot run away from a fact. I mean, you got to face it. You have to face it, and I have to face it. I mean, I can't be sort of running away and saying, okay, it's not going to happen. I mean, it's going to happen, and I have to be there, and I have to be in front of the honorable court, and I have to face whatever comes my way.
Are you apprehensive of how you might behave that day when the judge looks you straight in the face and there's no one there, just you and the judge, and the rest don't matter, and then he pronounces your verdict?
Well, whenever I've been in court, my eyes are always down because of the respect, and that's the way I'm going to be.
So even on that day, you won't look him in the eye, you look down?
I can't. I mean, that's the honorable court, and I can't. How can you look at him in the eye? I mean, you got to have respect, and that's what my parents have taught me.
At that critical moment, that moment to which everything has been building up, do you think you'll be able to control your emotions?
I have no idea, Karan. I've not thought about that. I have not thought about that. I don't know what's going to happen. I'll just go, as I said, have faith in God, faith in the people of my country, faith in the judiciary. I'll just go and stand, and I don't know how I'll react at that moment.
That depends on what happens. That depends upon how you react.
Yes, I'll just go there and I'll just.
One of the problems you face is that you're not an ordinary accused. You're a star. The whole world, in a sense, is waiting for that moment, wanting to know how do you react. What's the emotion on his face? What happens to his eyes? Are you conscious of the fact that you're going to be very closely observed?
Very closely?
Observed.
Yeah, I know I will be. And I'm not going to be pretending, or I'm not going to be preparing. I'll just go there and I'll just react to whatever happens.
You're not going to act your way through that moment.
I can't. I mean, it's something to do, it's beyond an exam in a college, and it's beyond everything. It's something above everything. So,
does the fact that the whole world is just waiting, wanting to know how you respond, how you react, does that add to the tension you're going through?
See, as Karan, as I said, I mean, I'm not concerned about what people are looking at and what they want to see, and stuff like that. I mean, at the moment, my whole focus is what's going to happen, and my whole focus is that faith in God, and my whole focus is,
The rest of the world doesn't matter at this moment.
At this moment.
In a sense, by the way, you've sort of cut yourself off. You've just focused your entire life and your entire mind around that one day and that one moment.
Yes, absolutely.
Everything else is just cut off.
Yes, it is.
You're in a unique position at the moment, Sanjay. You're at the brink between captivity and freedom. What does freedom mean to you today?
It's like people, they take freedom for granted, and I've said it a lot of times that, I advise a lot of people that freedom is something you have to cherish, You cannot just take it for granted. I mean, God has given you freedom. I mean, you got to cherish it. You just can't take it for granted, because you never know what's going to happen, I mean, once it goes away, I mean, it's the worst thing which can happen to any human being, I think.
It happened to you for 18 months. In 94, 95, you were in jail. Today, when you look back, how do you look back on those 18 months?
It was a lesson for me. I mean, that's the way I look at it. I'm positive about it. That was my destiny. I had to go through it, and I learned like what freedom means, like what you just asked me.
Was that what you missed most about the outside world? When you were in captivity for those 18 months, was it the ability to do what you want, when you want, that you missed most of all?
I mean, like, Karan, see, I'll tell you something. I mean, like, even for you or for them or for all these guys, I mean, freedom is taken for granted, and my advice to everybody is that you shouldn't. You should cherish it, you should hold it, and you should never let it go,
The problem is most of us don't realize what freedom is because we do take it for granted.
Yeah.
You lost it, and now it has special meaning for you.
It does, so that's why I advise people.
In 94, 95 in Diwali, you were in jail, and I remember in one of his interviews to me, your father said, Sanjay says, Papa, light one candle at home, I light one candle in jail. The flickering flames will unite us.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. And I did that in all the Diwalis with him. I did that in this Diwali also. I lit a candle, and I knew he's going to light one there.
Is it easier to have to contemplate the possibility of going back to jail because you've been there already and you know what it's like? Or does that make it much more difficult to accept?
Karan, I haven't thought about all that. I mean, I just as I said, is that I just want to just focus on that moment, and I want to just bow my head, and I'm just going to take whatever comes my way, and I will accept whatever the honorable court says to me, basically.
You've made up your mind that no matter what the court says, you will accept it.
Yes.
In other words, mentally, you've prepared yourself for the worst if the worst has to happen.
Yes, I have.
That couldn't have been easy.
No, it's not easy, but you have to, prepare yourself. I mean, in every field of life, I feel. I mean, even when you go for a shoot, I mean, you've got to prepare yourself for the worst.
The worst in a shoot is a bad film. The worst here is jail.
Yeah, but you got to prepare for it. You got to. I mean, if it is that way, then you got to accept it.
Do you have nightmares sometimes about it? Do you lie awake at night, or do you have dreams about that awful moment when you suddenly realize, God, I've lost?
No, I've never had dreams and nightmares about it. I mean, I pray to God, so I think He protects me.
Sanjay, let's take a break at that point. I want to come back and talk about what the last 10 years have done to you, and how they've changed you, and how you've coped with the misfortunes that you've had to handle. We'll be back in a moment's time for this exclusive interview with Sanjay Dutt. Welcome back to Devil's Advocate and an exclusive interview with Sanjay Dutt about the moment he must dread. Sanjay, let's talk about what this whole experience that's gone on for 13 years has done to you. In what sort of way have you changed?
Well, Karan, it's not 13 years, it's about 22 years now. I mean, it started from my mother's death, to my drug phase, to my wife's death, to everything, and it's been a long journey, and as I told you before, that in that journey, the most important person in my life was my father, and in our lives, I can say, my family, the way he sort of just stood there like a rock, faced everything. And that's what he taught all of us, is to face what comes your way. And it's not been easy for any one of us,
So your strength today, in a sense, comes from your memory of him?
Absolutely. And I mean, see, he told me one thing, and he told me this, that, son, I mean, look at you and look at the people outside. They have more problems than you have, And he says, once you start realizing that, you'll start feeling better about yourself.
Even today, when in a few days' time you could face a judgment and a verdict that could change your life, and God forbid, a judgment that could send you to jail, do you still believe that there are people outside who face worse problems than you?
Absolutely. I do believe that. I mean, I do a lot of work for cancer and for AIDS and stuff like that. And the other day I went to this Tata Memorial Hospital to meet the kids, who suffer cancer, and it was such an emotional experience for me, just to watch little kids, 6 years and 7 years old, just going through that trauma with a smile on their face. And it was unbelievable. And these are the small moments in life where you start thinking, okay, your problem is nothing compared to what problems are outside.
Those little children of 6 suffering from cancer actually give you strength to bear your own suffering.
I do look at myself, but I mean, I feel happy just to give them that happiness for a moment. I mean, it was so beautiful just to go there and for them to just see and have a smile on their face. And when I started talking to the doctors, it was traumatic, because it was all terminal for them.
In 94-95, when you were in jail, your father said to me that Sanjay is a lot tougher than most people realize. He said, people think of Sanjay as a spoilt, rich kid, but actually he's pretty tough inside.
Yes, Karan. I mean, my parents have brought us up that way. I mean, they've never brought us up as star children, children of actors and stuff. I mean, I was sent to a boarding school. I studied in Sanar, You know, so I mean, it was, I mean, they've raised us, I mean, in a wonderful manner where you start valuing life, values of life, and you know, it was beautiful.
But at this moment of time, when you perhaps face one of the greatest tests, perhaps the greatest test you will ever face, do you feel tough or do you feel vulnerable?
It's both. I mean, I can't say that I feel tough and all that stuff. I mean, it's both. I mean, it's sometimes you're tough, sometimes you're vulnerable, sometimes you're emotional, sometimes, you know, it's a lot of feelings.
There's a lot of feelings that keep going through you.
Yes, yeah.
And they change from minute to minute, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, they do change, I think, but I mean, like I said, I mean, I have a beautiful family, I have good friends, I have my people of my country. I mean, when I see so much of love and affection, you know, it makes me feel good, makes me feel secure. I mean, it's unbelievable.
At this moment of time, when you need to feel secure, when you need to feel confident, when you need to be reassured, what does friendship and companionship mean to you?
It means a lot. I mean, it's just a support system, you know, and it's just that little bit of support and that little bit your friends and your people tell you that, you know, we are there with you, means a lot.
You're leaning on them a lot at the moment.
No, I'm not leaning on them, I'm leaning on my father.
More than anything else in the world, he still matters.
Yes, he matters the most to all of us.
Even though he's not with you physically, his spiritual presence is what's keeping you going.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And I know he's there, and I can feel him.
And the fact that he believed in your innocence, and he believed that everything would go okay, gives you the strength to face up to that day, just 2 weeks away, 3 weeks away.
Yes, absolutely.
And so his is the memory that you keep in front of your eyes and in your heart all the time.
Yeah, all the time. I mean, he's always there, and we do miss him a lot, you know, physically, because he just went away very suddenly, and I yet remember, I mean, I spoke to him the night before, and I wanted to go and see him, and he told me, he said, son, you come and see me tomorrow, we'll have tea, and then you go for your work. And the next thing I knew was my sister waking me up saying, okay, Dad is not waking up. And I yet remember I questioned him. He was lying there, and I just said, why did you just leave us like this, you know? And yeah, it was a...
You never got that chance to say goodbye.
Yeah, yeah, I didn't. You know, he just left.
That meeting that you wanted never happened.
Never happened. You know, and I don't know if you've seen Munna Bhai, Lagero Munna Bhai, but there is a moment in that film where he tells Jimmy Shergill, tells him about his father. He said, one day I woke up, my dad wasn't there, and there were so many things in my heart I wanted to say, which I couldn't.
That was Sanjay actually speaking the truth.
It was, yeah. Yeah, it was.
Those things that you wanted to say to your father never got said. Now you say them inside and you hope he hears them upstairs.
He does. He does. He does.
Today, when you're at a point when you could perhaps lose it all, what does stardom and popularity and fame mean to you?
I mean, I am a star because of the people. I mean, I'm not because of me. I mean, they watch my movies, and that's why I am what I am. If they didn't watch my movies, I mean, I would have been just another guy. I mean, you know. So it's just because of the audience who made me Sanjay Dutt. And it gives me so much of strength to do better work for them, just to entertain them.
Sanjay, there are just maybe 2.5 weeks to go for that dreadful day, that dreadful moment in court, when the judge will pronounce the verdict. If he acquits you, how will you react?
I don't know. I'll just...
Jump for joy.
I don't know, I'll start crying or something. I don't know.
God forbid it should go the other way. What will you do?
I'll face it. I have to.
Sanjay Dutt, good luck.
Thanks, man.